On our first episode of Intertwined Hearts, we share the story of one amazing couple, Sarah and John. Sarah had to deal with an unfaithful husband who had shown no signs of changing amidst her complaining and confrontation of his behavior. They had been together for several years, and because of this, she could not give up on the marriage. She convinced John for them to start attending marital counseling and seek godly counsel. John agreed out of the pressure from his wife, who had also resolved to fervently mention the issue of husband's unfaithfulness before God in prayer. Now, John was not a bad man by any means. He was actually quite the opposite. He was a hard-working man who was able to provide for his family. He was a man of integrity and high moral values who never took alcohol or drugs and was very respectful to his wife. However, there was a dark cloud hanging over their once happy marriage. Every blissful moment was overshadowed by the knowledge that John had cheated on Sarah with another woman. To make matters worse, he had done it more than once. The first time he cheated, Sarah was heartbroken, but she found it in her to forgive him. However, when he did it again, she began to question everything. Why did he do it? How could he live with himself? And most importantly, what was she going to do about it? After several attempts to speak to his husband about his behavior were unsuccessful, Sarah decided to take matters into her own hands. She started praying fervently for God to intervene in their marriage and help John to see the error of his ways. At the same time, she began attending marital counseling, where she was able to get the tools and support she needed to confront her husband. Meanwhile, John was struggling with his own guilt and shame. He knew that he had hurt his wife, and he didn't know how to make it right. He loved Sarah, and he didn't want to lose her, but he was also struggling with his feelings for the other woman. He tried to ignore Sarah's pleas for help, hoping that the problem would just go away. But as time went on, the distance between him and Sarah grew wider and wider. One day, John had a change of heart. He realized that he couldn't keep living a life of lies and deceit. He decided to confess everything to his wife and seek her forgiveness. He took her out for dinner and told her how much he loved her and how sorry he was for what he had done. He promised her that it would never happen again and begged for her forgiveness. Sarah was shocked but also relieved when her husband finally confessed everything to her. She had prayed so hard for this moment, and she knew that it was God who had answered her prayers. She forgave him, and they began to work on rebuilding their marriage. As the months went by, John became a changed man. He stopped seeing the other woman and devoted himself to his wife and family. He began to come home early, spend more time with his family, and so on. One evening, as fate would have it, or should we say John became intentional with his life, marriage, and family. John took his wife Sarah on a private dinner date where he apologized to his wife for getting into affairs outside marriage, which brought harm and pain to his family. He promised that evening that he was going to remain faithful henceforth and that he would focus on building their home. This was the beginning of healing to this marriage, and therefore Sarah and John overcame an obstacle that was almost going to break their marriage. The word God tells us in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 4, "Let marriage be held in honor among all, and let the marriage bed be undefiled, for God will judge the sexually immoral and adulterous." We at Loveleaf support this scripture and ask you to do the same in your marital affairs. We bring you greetings from Loveleaf. If you are blessed by this, do well to follow for more. God bless you.